Do you love this podcast? Do you love the information that we give you with a little sense of humor, some nuggets, some fun? Guess what? It happens every day, 24 hours a day inside Endurance Nation. Endurance Nation has been helping athletes just like you achieve their age group goals, whether it's finishing their first marathon or Boston qualifying, finishing their first triathlon or doing an Ironman at the World Championships, or doing ultra runs, gravel races, etc. Many cases during the summer months, we have athletes racing all over the country, in fact, the globe, at events of all different varying shapes and sizes. We can do that because the framework for how we train, how we build athletes, educate them, and support them with training plans and digital access to coaching and their peers is unparalleled. No one else does it like Endurance Nation does it. When you become a member of the team, you get access to not only the great coaching support, our training plans, and our resources, but to peers, people just like you who love the adventure, love challenging themselves, and are on this growth trajectory of personal excellence. Whether you're 25 years old and getting started or 65-year-old and sharpening the saw, we are here to help you out. You can learn more and apply to join the team at endurancenation.us/join. That's www.endurancenation.us/join. I look forward to seeing your application.
Hey everyone, it's Coach Patrick here from Endurance Nation this week with a special primer for you on the things about Endurance Nation, things about endurance training that you need to know as an age group athlete. I'm calling this the 2024 primer for the age group endurance athlete. Endurance Nation has been around since 2007. Hey everyone, Coach Patrick here from Endurance Nation back with another episode. This week, the 2024 primer for the age group endurance athlete. Now, I've been coaching athletes since 2004 and been competing since 2001. It's been a long time, a lot of lessons learned, and we've distilled all of them down into Endurance Nation. But the best part is these lessons aren't just my own. They come out of working with the team. Approximately 500 athletes for the better part of 17 years. That's a whole lot of people doing endurance things. And we've learned a great deal, some of which has really helped to not only define who we are, but definitely set us apart from what other coaching programs offer, which I would say we're not really like a coaching program. And definitely different than just if you got some kind of boilerplate training plan and didn't know what was going on. Endurance Nation is structured specifically for you, directly with you, so you know all the things that you need when you need to know them, so you can make the best possible decisions when you need to make them, so you can have the greatest race possible when you race, right? Sounds simple when I say it like that, but in reality, especially those of you who've worked with coaches or programs otherwise know that that's not always the case. So welcome to the 2024 primer. First things first, I have to tell you the truth. Not all time is created equal. I know that sounds kind of a little bit lofty to say, but it's really easy to imagine that we have time we dedicate to training and time that we have everywhere else. Across the course of a week, you have 168 hours to use wisely. A lot of that's allocated to sleep and work and family, the basics. But the rest of the time that you have free, you get to choose where it goes. And some portion of that is dedicated to your training. And it's easy to say, I trained 8 hours this week or 10 hours or 12 hours or 14 hours or whatever that number is for you, and say, this is my time spent training. But not all training time is actually created equally. And it's a lie if you think that if I train 10 hours and you train hours, that we're getting the same out of those exact 10 hours. And the reason why time is different inside Endurance Nation about those 10 hours is that our training plans are rewritten every single year. That's right. I sit down and rewrite the training plans every single year to make sure that they're updated on our latest knowledge as a team, but also the best science out there. And of course, my own experience training and racing because I'm towing the line alongside you. Now, when we think about how to invest this time, we've structured it so that you actually have dedicated periods of time during the year when you're focused on different elements. So instead of going in and saying, hey, what's your race? And then building you a plan for that race, irrespective of when you're starting. A race in April is very different than a race in July and incredibly different than a race in November. And if you treat them the same way, well, I guess you're probably going to get the same results. Inside Endurance Nation, the first thing we do when you sign up is we create a season roadmap for you based off of not only your ability levels and the known challenges that you have in your life, but also targeting your race and structuring your season so that it makes complete sense and that we have alignment on like day 3 of what our year is going to look like so we understand where we're investing time and how we're investing it, and where in other cases, perhaps we're not investing time in training, but we're investing it in rest and recovery or other activities that are going to complement your performance on the race course, but aren't a direct amount of work. So if you have more time to train, it's not just about doing more training. It's making sure, and the dirty little secret is making sure that you're using the time that you have dedicated for your training in the best way possible to give you the best possible results. And we do that inside Endurance Nation. Second for you, Google, I hate to break this to you, Google is the enemy, right? Now, not like Google's the enemy, like big, giant megacorp coming after you, although perhaps you do feel that way. Sometimes with my search results, I do get a little sketched out by what shows up in my browsing history in the next couple of weeks or months. But I'll save those stories about bass fishing and bow hunting later after I made an ill-timed gift purchase on the internet. However, I will say that when we started out coaching 2004, my own coaching business, 2007, Endurance Nation, there wasn't a lot of information out there. So search engines were helpful because it would help you discover new things. Now we live in an age where there's information everywhere. You can't get away from all the information. And in fact, my job has become primarily leading Endurance Nation on an information filter and reducing all of that. But the team itself is a great mechanism as well. You could certainly go to Google and search up Achilles tendonitis or calf tightness or hamstring discomfort or challenging, sleep issues or, tapering for a race, but you're going to get all sorts of results. And there's some places in your life where, don't go search Google for that because you're not going to get a great result, right? So maybe you're an accountant or a lawyer or a nurse practitioner, right? Or maybe, I don't know, maybe you just work at the local Starbucks. And that if I said, hey, how do I make a mocha chocolate? You'd be like, that's not the real recipe or the real way, right? Just like the accountant would say, that's not the way that we do our estimated taxes. Just like the lawyer would say, that's not how we would file for a lawsuit, right? But as an individual who doesn't have that domain expertise, it's easy to go in, see those first results. They must be right. And off we go. That's awful for athletes who are just getting the latest results or the ones that are the most liked or clicked or linked and not directly relatable to you. So that's where the team comes in. Because when you post your questions inside the team, you're getting the feedback of not just 500 athletes on the team right now, but you have access to the archives where 500 athletes for almost 17 years now have been sharing their information and best practices. You get to live on top of our collective shared knowledge here inside the community. It's 10 times better than Google, hands down. And the number one place where athletes go to ask questions and get feedback on results and important things to them. Right now, we've got separate side chats going on. We've got a women's only room, only women go in there that talk about things that are related to them. I've got a couple side chats with some older gentlemen who are dealing with prostate cancer, and everyone is helping one another out. It's just a different lens on the world when you don't just think about your training as a team exercise, but you think of your entire endurance lifestyle as an exercise, and team spirit, team cohesion, team growth. It's the secret weapon. And at the end of the day, if Google's your enemy, you need someone on your side. That, my friends, would be Endurance Nation. All right. Next one up. Smarter is the new faster. I say this all the time. We put it in our newsletter. I think maybe some people get it, but other people don't. Faster used to be all about work. If you could just work harder than everybody else, you'd be better. We know now as a society that there's some places where there's advantages for being early, for example, or having insider information as another, or having key skills. Sometimes we'll chalk those up to, oh, that person's genetically gifted, or they're perhaps financially advantaged over me, and I don't have the same tools to compete with. At the end of the day, most athletes try and solve their race and training problems with more effort. Just do more work, just work harder, sleep less, work more, right? Train more. If I could train twice a day, that'd be great. If I could train 3 times a day, even better. And when they look at pro athletes who are doing that, it looks appealing, except when you see the rest of the pro athlete's life where they live like a monk, essentially, like sleeping in between those sessions, having food brought to them, never leaving their altitude, ensconced hotel, only dipping down, get a quick cappuccino before going back up the volcano to their place where nobody lives and no one's allowed to be there, simply because it's best for their body, everything, right? That's not how things work inside Endurance Nation. Yes, there's a time and a place for work. And yes, we want you to do that work most appropriately, which is why being smart about your body in terms of the stress that you're facing, how you manage your training, how you distribute your work across the week, how you respectfully still do things, at work and at home and with your other commitments, but also still maintain your excellence when you're training. All of that is a delicate balance, and it requires incredibly consistent and ever-improving decision-making skills. And that is one of the things that we hone right out of the gate here inside Endurance Nation, is giving you the information you need to make better decisions about your time, about the workout. We empower you. Our training plans have different levels inside of them. You might be a level 2 this week. Maybe you're a level 3 next week. Maybe you're starting off again after injury. You're level 1. That's fine. We let you pick those things. We put you in the position of getting really good at making decisions and becoming smarter. Some of our workouts, particularly during the race prep period, are actually around writing a plan. So we can edit the plan as a team and give it back to you, so you can then go with the final plan into your rehearsal. So by the time you race, you've actually been through the race process itself twice in your mind, twice in reality, and now we're hitting the ground on the race course. That's the 5th time you've done this thing, right? You are so ready, you are so prepared, and your rate of learning is 5 times faster than the average athlete. If you do this for 3 years, say you're doing Ironman races, you do 3 years of Ironman races. At the end of 3 years, the average person has done 3 Ironman races. Inside Endurance Nation, you will have done 15 Ironman races, both on paper, in practice, and now here on race day as well. By the time you get to that 15th edition, you are crushing it. You are rocking and ready to go. You know your nutrition and your pacing, and all of that is a result of focusing on the mental side of the equation and not just the physical side, right? We all have physical limitations mostly governed by time, but there's no cap on getting smarter, and that's what we're all about. All right, next up, quality always beats quantity. I get in trouble for this one a lot on the internet and just talking to other coaches who tell me for sure that the data suggests that lots of zone 2 aerobic endurance is fantastic for you. And I don't disagree with that. The challenge with lots of zone 2 aerobic endurance is that it's not necessarily great for your job or for your family or for your sleep. Listen, if you're working 40 to 50 hours a week, which is pretty ordinary, plus you say coach a kid's sports team and you have a hobby or a spouse that maybe you actually still like, or actually more surprisingly still likes you, the amount of time you have available to train is actually pretty low. And to carve out more time for volume and to ramp that volume up over time, it just doesn't work. Sure, it looks great on paper, and I'm sure lab rats love that. Lab rats don't have responsibilities. People like you and I, well, we do. So quality is always at the forefront of our minds. Even on those key weekends or key sessions or key camps where we do get a chance to go away and invest our time appropriately, it's all about the quality. What are we trying to get out of this session? What's the main set? Inside Endurance Nation, we're always talking about the main set. Not I ran for an hour today, or I ran for 8 miles today, but the main set. Did I achieve my main set? Did I do my 3x1 mile at threshold? Did I do my 4x800s? Did I do my 2x12 minutes? Did I do my 3x8 minutes? Did I do my 4x500s in the pool? Like whatever that session is, that's the key metric. That's what moves forward. We're really focused on making sure that the quality of every session is great, because that's the best indicator. When the quality starts to drop, the fatigue gets too high on these quality portions of it, then we know we have to adjust those dials, right? Because you're not in the right space. Whereas if the game you're playing is, can I do more this week than last week? Anybody can play that game until you run out of room for the game, and your body can't handle the cost of playing that can I do more game every single week over time. It just doesn't add up for you. So staying smart, staying focused really matters. And we do that by using the quality side of the equation, whether that comes to using intensity or just being really smart about our training decisions versus just opting for more. More, my friends, is not always better. And last but not least, it takes a village. I touched on this a little bit earlier in my presentation today, but it's worth going back to. Having a team of hundreds of athletes on your side who are supporting you is phenomenal. Every year, this same scenario plays out inside Endurance Nation. New athlete signs up. New athlete is doing their first half or maybe full Ironman race. They're very excited. They don't know what to do, but they're ready for training. And I come in and help them with their season roadmap, make sure everything's set up at home for their training and get their schedule dialed in, etc. Then they go to the community and say, hey, I've got a question. I'm doing this race, 70.3 Spokane, or I'm doing Ironman Canada. I'm doing Mont Tremblant 70.3 or whatever it is for my first one. Or Ironman Arizona is my first one. Who can help me out? And that's where the team comes into play. People can come right out and say, hey, I live in the Southeast US as well. And I did that race in November, and this is how I handled it, right? Or here's how I traveled and stayed, or here's where I trained locally, or there's something you should know about that race that looks like this. Or did you say you weren't so great at swimming because this part about the course is actually great for people who aren't great about swimming? Or you should definitely get these goggles. All that information comes out because it's not just what you know, but it's collectively what we all know. And what people aren't necessarily saying also lives in our race report archives and all the resources we have inside the team, inside of our data vault. It all adds up to make sure that when you toe the starting line, you have not only the support for the better part of a year getting ready for this race of your teammates, and perhaps many of whom will be on the line with you as well, depending on the event. If it's one of our key races for the year. Maybe you met some of one of our training camps, or you've been attending our weekly Monday night office hour sessions and you've made some good friends. Regardless, you start that line on the collective shoulders of the team who are supporting you to get there. So it's not just, did you show up on Thursday and swim with everybody, or did you do the group ride on the last Saturday of every month? Those things are great. Social time is fantastic. Inside Endurance Nation, not only do you get that social time, but you also get the benefit of that collective knowledge. And I can't say it enough. Having the support of your family and friends and training partners is important, and in some cases, essential. But actually having a team that is dedicated toward getting better, regardless of your ability level, because we can all be faster, we can all execute well, is the secret unlock. And it's possible here inside Endurance Nation. If you're curious about any of these things, or if you have a problem with anything that I've said, let me know. Tell me on social media, or head over to endurancenation.us where you can learn more about the team, download some free resources, or if you want, even apply to join. We're still taking members for the 2024 season and would love to see you, have you join the adventure. Take care. Have a fantastic week, everyone. I'll see you in our next episode.
Do you love this podcast? Do you love the information that we give you with a little sense of humor, some nuggets, some fun? Guess what? It happens every day, 24 hours a day inside Endurance Nation. Endurance Nation has been helping athletes just like you achieve their age group goals, whether it's finishing their first marathon or Boston qualifying, finishing their first triathlon or doing an Ironman at the World Championships, or doing ultra runs, gravel races, etc. Many cases during the summer months, we have athletes racing all over the country, in fact, the globe, at events of all different varying shapes and sizes. We can do that because the framework for how we train, how we build athletes, educate them, and support them with training plans and digital access to coaching and their peers is unparalleled. No one else does it like Endurance Nation does it. When you become a member of the team, you get access to not only the great coaching support, our training plans, and our resources, but to peers, people just like you who love the adventure, love challenging themselves, and are on this growth trajectory of personal excellence. Whether you're 25 years old and getting started or 65-year-old and sharpening the saw, we are here to help you out. You can learn more and apply to join the team at endurancenation.us/join. That's www.endurancenation.us/join. I look forward to seeing your application.